Ayan, hi everyone, we are Group 8 and today we're going to talk about the turning the wheel of Dharma. So pag sinabi natin Dharma, it means truth or reality. So itong topic namin na to is inclined siya sa Buddhism. So Buddhism believes that human life is a cycle of suffering and rebirth, but that if one achieves a state of enlightenment, it is possible to escape this cycle forever. So yung sinasabi niyang state of enlightenment, tinatawag to ng mga Buddhist na nirvana. So sabi nila kapag na-attain natin yung state or yung nirvana, we can end we can escape the cycle of suffering and rebirth. So, for Buddhists, pag sinabing si Buddha, or parang ang meaning ng Buddha for them is the one who is awakened. So, ngayon, yung turning the wheel, pag sinabi natin turning the wheel, it is a metaphor for the setting in motion of new teachings. So, nagre-refer to sa act ni Buddha of teaching the Dharma, which encompasses his teachings on the path to enlightenment, the nature of reality, and the cessation of suffering. So, ayun, pag sinabi ng turning the Dharma wheel, metaphor siya, kumbaga parang it is a poetic way to describe yung teaching ni Buddha ng Dharma. And sa Mahayana Buddhism, sinasabi nila that Buddha turned the Dharma wheel 3 times. And yung 3 turnings na yon ng wheel, it represents significant events sa Buddhist history. So, isa-isahin natin yung 3 turnings na to nung Dharma wheel. Here is an excerpt or like a passage sa material na binigay ni Prof. Ito yung isa sa sinabi ni Buddha nung na-attain or nung na-discover niya yung enlightenment. Sabi niya, "My brothers, there are 2 extremes that a person on the path should avoid. One is to plunge oneself into sensual pleasures and the other is to practice austerities which deprive the body of its needs." And for Buddha, sabi niya, yung middle way, yun yung path para ma-avoid itong 2 extremes na to. And malilid tayo na to to understanding liberation and peace kapag na-avoid natin itong 2 extremes na to through the middle way. So, pag sinabi natin yung right path, or pag sinasabing nasa right path for Buddhists, it doesn't mean na ma-avoid mo na yung suffering or hindi ka na talaga magsasuffer at all. But rather, more on direction lang siya, yung right path na sinasabi dito ni Buddha. Ida-direct ka lang niya kung paano mo i-confront yung suffering or paano mo siya ma-overcome. So, kumbaga, yung right path, it is the way of awakening. So, now let's talk about the first turning of the wheel. So, yung first turning of the wheel, dito unang binigay ni Buddha yung first teachings niya na nung after niya ma-attain yung enlightenment. And etong turning ng wheel na to is often associated with these 4 noble truths which outline the nature of suffering, yung cause ng suffering, its cessation, and the path to liberation. So, first truth is the truth of suffering. So, sa truth of suffering, sinasabi dito ni Buddha na suffering is unavoidable. Kumbaga, magsasuffer tayo in life. And that, hindi naman kasi talaga natin nakukuha kung ano talaga yung gusto natin sa buhay natin. Kumbaga, makukuha man natin siya, but we will still end up losing it. So, magsasuffer tayo. Kumbaga, nothing lasts. Yun yung sinasabi ng truth of suffering. Yung kung ano yung akala natin, what we believe is happiness is only a delayed form of unhappiness. Masaya ka man ngayon, pero hindi ka naman palaging masaya. Magiging malungkot ka rin in the future. So, kumbaga, magsasuffer ka ulit. Kumbaga, fake lang yung concept ng happiness and pleasure. And yung pleasure, it is only a mask of pain. Kasi kumbaga, hindi ka naman palaging pleasured lang. Kasi hindi naman siya maglalast. So, after ng pleasure, pain yung susunod. Kumbaga, magkakaroon ka lang din ng pain. So, that is the truth of suffering. And then, second truth is the truth of the cause of suffering. Mas ina-explain naman dito ni Buddha kung bakit nga ba tayo nagsasuffer. So, sinasabi niya na yung cause ng suffering natin is craving, attachment, or yung desire natin for pleasure or thirst. So, kumbaga kasi kapag once na na-achieve na natin yung pleasure, gugustuhin natin ng pleasure, more pleasure, ganon. Which is, of course, sabi nga natin, hindi naman talaga siya naglalast. So, malilid ka pa rin to suffering. So, kumbaga, for example, isipin niyo lahat ng bad experiences na nangyari sa inyo, maliit man or malaki. Kumbaga, nangyari lang naman yun kasi gusto mo ng different experience or gusto mo mag-iba yung experience mo kung ano talaga siya. Kumbaga, meron kang pleasure na hinahanap. For example, example ng bad experience na nangyari is late ka for school. And then, pwedeng ang cause nun is kasi scroll ng Reels sa IG or kung saan man, sa TikTok, ganyan. So, kumbaga, parang ayaw mo ng normal morning routine mo eh. Parang gusto mo ng something different in that day. So, ginusto mo yung pagnood ng Reels or ng mga online videos. Kumbaga, yun yung pleasure mo. Which, in turn, di ba, naging late ka sa school. So, suffering. And, ayun nga, yung sinasabi rin dito na hindi rin kasi naman tayo nakukontento. Kahit na makuha natin kung ano yung gusto natin, it is not as good as we imagine it to be. So, kumbaga, magki-crave at magki-crave pa rin tayo. So, that is the truth of the cause ng suffering. And third truth is the truth of the end of suffering. Kumbaga, dito naman, sinasabi niya na dito na may end yung suffering. Dito niya ini-introduce yung nirvana. Sinasabi niya na it is possible for a human being to bring suffering to an end. Pag sabi natin nirvana, it means to extinguish or to blow out. Pero yung nirvana, ang definition nila is it is not a state or a thing, pero more on a transition siya. And sinasabi nila that nirvana is truth. And it is also not a natural result of extinguishing craving, but rather, hindi. Sinasabi na yung nirvana is neither cause nor effect. Actually, medyo deep yung yung concept ng nirvana. And pero sinasabi nila that the only way to see it is to realize it. Na merong path to the realization of nirvana, pero yung nirvana, hindi siya yung result ng path na yun. Kumbaga, pwede kang mapunta sa mountain along a path, pero yung mountain is neither the result or effect ng path na yun. Parang yun yung sinasabi niya, pwede mong ma-attain or pwede kang, you can get to nirvana, pero you can get to nirvana along a path, pero yung nirvana, hindi siya result or effect ng path na yun. So, ayun, sinasabi sa truth of the end of suffering na we must have something to let go of para mag-end yung suffering. So, kahit yung desire natin to end the suffering, dapat mag-end din yung desire na yun. Para, kumbaga, ayun nga, dapat hindi tayo mag-desire. So, understanding the truth of life brings about the cessation of every grief and sorrow and gives rise to peace and joy. Kumbaga dito, more on, ang sinasabi ng truth na to is dapat maintindihan natin kung ano talaga yung truth of life, which is yung truth of suffering. Dapat nagigets natin na may ganito talaga para daw ma-confront natin yung every grief or sorrows na may experience natin in life. And last truth is yung truth of the path that leads to the end of suffering. And dito, sa last truth na to is, dinedescribe yung eightfold path. Itong eightfold path, hindi niya sinasabi kung ano yung kailangan mong gawin para ma-end yung suffering in life, but rather, dinedescribe niya lang kung ano yung state or paano yung state of being a fully awake human being. Kumbaga, ito yung path of living in awareness. Sinasabi kasi na masyado daw kasi tayong mga delulu, kaya tayo nagsasuffer. Kumbaga sabi nila that in the eyes of Buddha, most people are sleepwalking through life, immersed in delusions. Thus, without knowing it, we live in a way that creates suffering. Kumbaga, meron kasing idea na merong wrong way of living, which causes suffering, and meron ding right way of living, which reduces or eliminates suffering. So, ayun, dito sa Eightfold Paths, para magkakaroon tayo ng direction on how to be fully awake as a human being para maging aware tayo and hindi tayo maging delulu sa life. So, etong Eightfold Paths, hindi siya sequential, hindi siya sunod-sunod, pero they depend on one another. So, yung first path is right view. So, sinasabi sa right view, ito yung meron tayong wisdom to see through the deluded words and actions natin and ng others. Kumbaga, dapat meron tayong wisdom para ma-admit natin sa sarili natin na no amount of material wealth, productivity, or pleasure can rid us of suffering but rather create more suffering. Kasi nga, mag-end up tayo in craving for more of it, which is, ayun nga, mas maglilid siya ng more suffering towards us. Second naman is yung right intention. So, of course, para magkaroon ka ng right intention, dapat meron kang right view, di ba? So, after mo kasing makita yung things as how they are, pag nagets mo na ito yung truth, magkakaroon ka na ng right intention, magkakaroon ka na ng right goals mo. And the best intention is, of course, to cure yourself and others from the illness of thirst or yung desire or craving, di ba? Parang, yun nga, para maiwasan natin, tatanggalin natin yung cause ng suffering natin, which is desire. So, kapag nagets mo na yung truth na, or nakuha mo na yung right view or yung wisdom na magsasuffer ka, magkakaroon ka na ng intention to reduce or eliminate yung suffering mo, which is, of course, yun nga, to cure yourself from desire. Third is yung right speech. And, ayun, of course, kapag may right view ka na and meron ka na ring set na intentions or goals, magkakaroon ka na ng right speech. Magpa-follow through na lang siya. So, ayun, it involves abstaining from lies, divisive or abusive speech, harsh words, and gossips that can cause conflict, disharmony, or harm to others. So, pinapromote natin yung concord trust and mutual understanding through thoughtful, uplifting words that are rooted in wisdom and compassion. And then, ayun, susunod-sunod na lang yung right action and yung right livelihood. Kumbaga kasi, once na nakita na natin yung things, kung paano sila, like, we get it na. Like, once we see things as they are, and meron na tayo ng right intention, yung way natin of speak or act and live ay ano lang siya, susunod na lang siya. Kumbaga, pag meron na tayong right view, right intention, then the way we speak, act, and live are calibrated to lead us to the labyrinth of thirst and suffering. And for Buddha, yung meditation, ito yung vital component of transforming one's perception of reality. It is telling us that yung last three aspect ng Eightfold Noble Path refer to the Buddhist practice of meditation. And sinasabi ni Buddha that mindfulness is yung foundation. Pag pinractice natin yung mindfulness, you can develop concentration, which enables us to attain understanding. And with the right concentration, you realize right awareness, right thoughts, right speech, right actions, and right livelihood and effort. So, kumbaga, one needs to train and transform one's mind in order to grasp the deeper teachings ni Buddha. And ayun, yung meditation, it is Buddha's way of treating the human mind from infection of ignorance and thirst.
Imagine yourself in ancient India, sitting among a gathering of disciples eagerly awaiting the Buddha's teachings. The first turning of the wheel had already opened your eyes to four noble truths in the Eightfold Path. But now, the Buddha was about to reveal something even more profound, a revolutionary concept that will forever change the course of Buddhist thought and practice. In this second turning, the Buddha expanded on the idea of emptiness or shunyata. He taught that all phenomena, including our very sense of self, are devoid of any inherent, independent existence. Everything is interdependent, impermanent, and constantly changing. Buddhism, a profound spiritual tradition, introduces the concept of emptiness, known as shunyata. Emptiness challenges the belief in the inherent, independent existence of phenomena. At its core, it emphasizes the absence of a fixed, unchanging essence in all things. Emptiness suggests that nothing possesses a permanent, unchanging identity. It is akin to a blank canvas, symbolizing the lack of inherent existence. Interconnectedness is a key theme, highlighting the dynamic and interdependent nature of all phenomena. An everyday example is likening emptiness to changing seasons. Just as a tree in winter may seem lifeless, it holds all the potential to blossom in spring. Emptiness underscores the interconnectedness and evolving nature of existence. Significantly, this concept challenges fixed views, breaking down rigid perceptions and attachments. Understanding emptiness is considered crucial in the path to liberation, guiding practitioners to let go of misconceptions and cultivate a profound, liberating insight. Practically, embracing emptiness involves letting go of attachments to fixed ideas about ourselves and the world. It fosters compassion by recognizing the interconnectedness of all things, inspiring a compassionate response to the collective suffering. In essence, emptiness invites individuals to see beyond the surface appearances, understanding that nothing exists independently or permanently. This perspective encourages a more flexible and compassionate approach to life and the world. Let's now go to non-self or anatta. To grasp this concept fully, envision a broken mirror or a figure slowly dissolving. This visual metaphor represents the Buddha's idea of anatta, the absence of a permanent, unchanging self. Think of a time when your thoughts are or beliefs shifted, challenging the very notion of a fixed identity. Picture the broken shards of a mirror coming together to form a new reflection. It's a powerful illustration of the fluidity of identity and challenges the notion of a fixed self. The teachings of anatta invite us to recognize this ever-changing nature within ourselves. Anatta, or non-self, stands as a fundamental concept in Buddhism, challenging this belief in an unchanging permanent self or soul. Anatta suggests that there's no enduring essence within us, challenging this illusion of a fixed self. The key points of anatta emphasize the absence of a fixed identity, asserting that our thoughts, feelings, and bodies are in a constant flux. This challenges the concept of an eternal soul, which some belief systems propose. An everyday example illustrates this concept through changing roles. Anatta reveals that there's no unchanging you behind various roles. You adapt and change based on circumstances. Understanding anatta guides in releasing attachments to a fixed identity, facilitating a smoother navigation of life's changes. It encourages embracing impermanence. It encourages embracing impermanence, acknowledging that change is natural, and finding a sense of freedom in letting go of rigid concepts. In essence, non-self challenges the concept of a permanent, unchanging, encouraging a fluid and interconnected understanding of our existence. Let's now go with Prajnaparamita teachings. Alongside emptiness, the second turning introduced Prajnaparamita teachings. Imagine holding in your hands the Heart Sutra, a powerful sutra encapsulating supreme wisdom. The Heart Sutra serves as a beacon, guiding us toward a profound understanding of the truth of emptiness. Consider the Prajparamita teachings as a treasure trove of wisdom. The Heart Sutra, in particular, condenses these profound insights into a concise form. It's like finding a guidebook that captures the essence of wisdom in a few powerful lines, especially focusing on the concept of emptiness. Prajparamita, translated as the perfection of wisdom, holds a central position within Mahayana Buddhism, offering profound insights into the nature of reality and emptiness. The body of sutras and literature places a significant emphasis on attaining supreme wisdom, not confined to intellectual understanding, but extending to direct perception of truths beyond ordinary comprehension. The Heart Sutra, a jewel in Mahayana Buddhism, it condenses these teachings in a concise form, making them accessible yet intensely impactful. The Heart Sutra delves into the essence of emptiness, shunyata, challenging ordinary perceptions and attachments. The significance of the Heart Sutra lies in its power to provide deep insight into the nature of reality. Despite its brevity, it carries universal relevance, transcending cultural and philosophical boundaries. Its teachings on emptiness and interconnectedness invite individuals to see beyond labels, challenging them to recognize the impermanence of all phenomena. Again, in practical terms, understanding the Heart Sutra initiates a profound shift in perspective. It encourages practitioners to move beyond surface appearances, fostering a deeper understanding of interconnectedness and emptiness. The practical implications extend beyond intellectual understanding, encouraging a more flexible and compassionate approach to life. In conclusion, Prajnaparamita teachings, as exemplified in the Heart Sutra, serve as a guide for practitioners to attain a wisdom that goes beyond intellect. These, teach, these teachings challenge individuals to perceive the world with a more enlightened perspective, fostering a deep understanding of interconnectedness, emptiness, and the transformative power of wisdom in navigating the complexities of existence. Let us now go to Hinayana to Mahayana, which is the transition from foundational teachings to the great vehicle doctrines. Now, envision a small boat transforming into a grand ship. This metaphor illustrates the transition from the foundational teachings of Hinayana, or the smaller vehicle, or boat, to the expansive doctrines of Mahayana, the great vehicle or the bigger ship. It's a shift from personal liberation to aspiring for the enlightenment of all beings. Think about starting a journey with a personal goal, represented by the small boat. Now, imagine expanding that journey to include the well being of everyone, symbolized by the larger ship. This shift perspective this shift in perspective characterizes the evolution from Hinayana to Mahayana teachings. Hinayana is the smaller vehicle, centers on personal liberation through the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, guiding practitioners towards nirvana. While the transition to Mahayana, the great vehicle, signifies a broadening vision, shifting from individual to collective well-being. The Bodhisattva ideal is introduced, emphasizing the enlightenment of all sentient beings. Moving from Hinayana to Mahayana is like widening a narrow road to include everyone. It represents a shift from individual goals to universal inclusivity, transforming the journey into a shared adventure. It's like starting a goal, but uh, realizing that the joy in contributing to the well-being of your community is like better. Or something. Let's now move to the Bodhisattva ideal, which is the concept of the Bodhisattva and the universal enlightenment. As we sail into the Mahayana, we encounter the aspiring concept of Bodhisattva. Imagine an image of a Bodhisattva statue or depiction, which is that one in the screen. The statue isn't merely seeking personal liberation, but is committed to uplifting every human being, embodying the spirit of universal compassion. The statue is ideal akin to being a supportive friend for everyone. It's like choosing to contribute to the happiness and well-being of others, not just for your personal enlightenment. This compassionate commitment is at the core of Bodhisattva path. Imagine the Buddhist teachings branching out like a tree, each school representing a unique perspective, which is the Madhyamaka, which focuses on emptiness, the Yogacara delving into consciousness, and another, the diversity of thought, within Buddhism is akin to a varied curriculum, offering practitioners different approaches to understanding emptiness and reality. The Bodhisattva is like a compassionate hero in Mahayana Buddhism. The concept of Bodhisattva is central to Mahayana Buddhism, embodying the altruistic path of compassion and universal enlightenment. The word Bodhisattva means someone who seeks enlightenment for the being of all. The Bodhisattva is like a compassionate hero in Mahayana Buddhism. Its significance is actually ideal defining feature of the concept of Mahayana Buddhism. It emphasizes expansive scope of compassion, extending beyond personal salvation to encompass the welfare and enlightenment of all sentient beings. Let's now go to Buddhist schools or traditions. Let's first explore the diverse philosophical landscape that emerged from the second turning. Picture a tree with various branches representing schools like the schools I mentioned a while ago or in the previous slide, Madhyamaka, which is focused on emptiness. The middle way. It was founded by Nagarjuna or Nagarjuna. It advocates a balanced view of the world, emphasizing the avoidance of extremes. Nagarjuna's teachings explore the nature of reality, asserting that all phenomena lack inherent existence, while the other is Yogacara, which explores consciousness, which is centered wisdom. Yogacara or Vijnanavada centers on nature of consciousness. It posits a mind-only perspective, suggesting that ultimate reality is mind-dependent. Yogacara Yogakara's teachings focus on transforming consciousness through practices like meditation. Lastly, Tata, the Tathagata Garba, or the inherent enlightenment potential, or it basically focuses on the inherent Buddha nature. The Tathagata Garba introduces the idea that all beings have innate potential for enlightenment. Unlike schools emphasizing emptiness, it suggests a positive essence within beings that lead to Buddhahood, Buddhahood, offering hope regardless of apparent negative qualities, which gives us the diverse perspectives. Emerging from the second turning, these schools share a foundation in emptiness but offer diverse perspectives. Madhyamaka emphasizes balance, Yogacara delves into consciousness, and Tathagata Garba introduces inherent enlightenment potential. Together, they create a complementary array of insights within the Mahayana Buddhism. The impact of the second turning has given rise to diverse practices such as these, influencing meditation techniques, doctrinal studies, and perspectives on to the path of enlightenment. Madhyamaka, Yogacara, and Tathagata Garba continue to shape the philosophical landscape of Mahayana Buddhism. Let us, as we conclude our journey to the second turning, visualize a symbol of meditation, wisdom, or liberation, perhaps a meditating figure, such as the one on the screen, or an open door. These teachings have profound implications for practice, influencing our meditation, guiding the cultivation of wisdom, and reorienting our path toward universal liberation. With meditation evolved to explore interconnectedness, challenging the idea of a fixed identity, like the one we mentioned before. Practitioners sought a deeper understanding of the web of existence, while the wisdom cultivation, with embracing emptiness, wisdom cultivation delved into emptiness, moving beyond intellectual pursuits to a visceral understanding of reality. Texts like the Heart Sutra served as guides to feel profound wisdom, while the path to liberation or universal freedom, it became universal, accessible to everyone. The Bodhisattva way emphasized collective well-being, transforming the journey toward enlightenment. In short, the second turning wasn't just about big ideas. It was about meditation, practical, wisdom, prac- wisdom practical, or emphasizing kindness and saying, "Hey, everyone can find their own way to be free and happy."
So, moving on to the third turning of the wheel, this turning is associated with teachings on Buddha nature and the nature of mind. So, it includes texts like the Tathagatagarbha Sutras, and the metaphor of turning the wheel suggests the continuous cycle of teaching and learning, symbolizing the timeless transmission of wisdom from the Buddha to his followers. The Dharma wheel is also a common symbol in Buddhism, representing the path to enlightenment and the cyclical nature of existence. In essence, turning the wheel of Dharma signifies the ongoing guidance and dissemination of Buddhist teachings, inspiring practitioners on their journey towards awakening and liberation from suffering. So the third turning is actually more challenging to pinpoint in time. Apparently, it arose not long after the second turning, and it had very similar mythical and mystical origins. It is an even deeper revelation of the nature of truth, and its main focus is the Tathagatagarbha or Buddha nature, which is inherent potential for enlightenment, present within all sentient beings. So this third turning of the wheel derives from a group of sutras and were utilized by the great master Asanga in his systemization of the mind-only school. This is a philosophical school that asserts the emptiness of people and phenomena. This school defines an object's emptiness as a lack of essence that is utterly distinct or separate from that of consciousness perceiving it. Moreover, phenomena are empty of the subject-object duality. They don't necessarily have a nature that differs from the nature of consciousness that perceives that. Mind-only masters in this school, namely Yogacara masters, considered teachings in the second turning which denied the validity of any conceptual understanding of doctrine. This, however, embraced a very limited view on the Buddha's understanding of emptiness and practice, as well as the value of doctrine and analysis. Yogacara teachings elucidate the nature of mind and consciousness, as well as the relationship between subject and object. The Samdhinirmukkhana Sutra is considered one of the earliest constructive and detailed responses to this apparent problem. So themes that run through the sutra are the nature of the ultimate reality, the development of a critical understanding of consciousness, and the implications of these understandings for practice. Along the way, the sutra contains the earliest presentation of the essentials of Yogacara Buddhism, this being the storehouse consciousness, the doctrine of mind only, and the three natures of all phenomena theory. It offers too a very early and explicit discussion of the three turnings of the Wheel of Dharma. As the concept of a third turning evolved, especially in East Asia, the turning embraced the notion that all sentient beings possess the ability to attain Buddhahood because they contain within themselves an innate Buddha nature. Since our Buddha nature is normally obscured by defilements, the path to enlightenment involves the elimination of these defilements and the awakening of our own Buddha nature. Through emerging first in India, the third turning had its greatest impact in China and East Asia in general. In this region of the world, the turning underwent creative shifts that took place within the context of notions of Yogacara Buddhism, Chinese Taoist notions like the original pure essence, and Confucian concepts such as the innate goodness of human beings. The result was the development of uniquely Chinese Buddhist schools. By the 8th century, third turning, thought with its focus on Buddha nature theories, had become the foremost Buddhist doctrine and practice in East Asia. Of all the sutras in the primer series, these particular sutras are those that really contain teachings from the third turning of the wheel. According to Dzogchen Ponlop Rinpoche, a spiritual director of an international Buddhist community, this doctrine declares that the fundamental nature of mind is utterly pure and primordially in the state of Buddhahood. It is the absolute Buddha. It has never changed from beginningless time. Its essence is wisdom and compassion that is inconceivably profound and vast. Moreover, he expresses that our fundamental nature of mind is a luminous expanse of awareness that is beyond all conceptual fabrication and completely free of the movement of thoughts. It is the union of emptiness and clarity, of space and radiant awareness that is endowed with supreme and immeasurable qualities. From this basic nature of emptiness, everything is expressed, and from this, everything arises and manifests. Because this is so, all beings are without an abiding self yet may realize enlightenment and enter nirvana. To conclude, certain applications of the teachings in this turning may be done by meditation on emptiness, cultivating compassion and wisdom, and practicing mindfulness and awareness. These demonstrate the teachings of the third turning by encouraging a level of self-awareness for an individual and igniting a stronger Buddha nature within each one. So that is it for our presentation. We hope that you guys learned a lot from the concepts presented, and hopefully Buddhism inspired you to continuously work towards being a better person. Thank you and have a great day.